Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here. So a while back I made a video showing you guys how to wall jump, and with hindsight I realized how poorly made that video was about 8 or 9 months ago. I didn't really explain the process behind wall jumping, so to speak, so I decided I would make another one and go more into detail, so it is the last wall jump guide you will ever need. So we're going to start off by doing just a basic wall jump, and going to go through the process of doing that. So here is where I practice. Here, obviously, if you practice in the spots where there's no walls that are higher up, you might just end up climbing, so just practice like right here. So we're going to start off with a basic wall jump, just going towards a wall and performing a wall jump to bounce back and get some height. So one of the big things of wall jumping is it all comes down to timing. So when you are walking towards the wall, you want to be jumping and hitting the wall when you're on the downwards trajectory of your jump. So when you're jumping, so you have the climb and then the apex of your jump, and then you start going downwards. So if you jump and hit the wall while you're at the climbing phase of the jump, you're just gonna go down like that instead of doing a wall jump. So basically you're pushing off the wall and you're doing the opposite of the momentum that you have. You're pushing that momentum back. So if your momentum is going up and you push it back down the other way, you're gonna go down. So the same can be said when you are going in the downward trajectory of your jump. So if you walk up to a wall and you jump and you're on the downward trajectory, as you can see here, you completed a nice wall jump, as opposed to just coming up and like pushing yourself off and going back down. That's not really a wall jump. It's not the same thing as what I just did if I was jumping and wall bouncing off when I am on the downward trajectory of my jump. So I added a mouse and keyboard overlay on screen just to help you guys visualize a little bit more the keys that I'm pressing, and something else that can help you pinpoint the timing at which you need to press the spacebar to jump off the wall. You can walk up to it, and then when you hear the noise that you're like hooking onto the wall, so if you walk up to a wall and you wall climb like this, you hear the distinct sound of your character like hooking up to the wall, as I would call it. That is the moment at which you would want to press the jump button. So if I walk up here, see, you heard the noise, I press the spacebar, I wall jumped off. So if we watch that again in slow-mo, so you walk up to the wall, you jump, and you make sure that the timing of the jump is at the same time that you hear your character hook up to the wall and that you are on the downward trajectory of your jump. If you do it and you're on the upward trajectory, as I said earlier, you will go back down, as opposed to having a nice lobbing wall jump. So now you can also do this while running. So if we do this while running, you will get nicer wall jumps, and it really all comes down to practice. You see, even sometimes I mess it up and I don't do I don't time it properly, or I don't time my jump properly towards the wall. So it's also a question of, you have to time the jump with how far you are from the wall, so you get the hookup onto the wall when you're on the downward trajectory of your jump. And you can also do this while you're crouch sliding. So if you're crouch sliding and then you jump onto the wall, it's the same principle. All you have to do is really start sprinting and try to get the most momentum possible, and then crouch slide towards the wall and then wall bounce off. So as you can see, when I am wall bouncing, I let go of all the keys on my keyboard, and the moment at which I hear my character hook up to the wall, it is then and only then that I will press the spacebar like that. So as you can see, only press the spacebar when my character hooked up to the wall. I wasn't touching any other keys, because if you do, say for example, you keep the W key pressed, you're gonna get like these weird wall jumps where you're just like wall jumping up and straight, which can be useful in certain situations, but this is not the point of the video. So now you're gonna say, well, yeah, wall jumping is cool and all, I can do this, but I wanna use that momentum to propel myself forwards. Well, you can do that. So if you were, let's say, horizontal to this wall as opposed to perpendicular, if I were running in this direction, so I'm just gonna show you guys an example here real quick. Running to this direction, crouch slide into this, and then when I wall jump off the wall, you press the directional key A or D to actually move into that direction. So you're kind of doing like a movement redirect, in the sense that you're running up to this wall, and then when you wall bounce off, you press a directional key and you move your mouse towards the direction that you want to go. So we're going to do that again. See, you get a nice wall jump and propel yourself forward as opposed to just doing this, which, you know, is okay, but it isn't as useful as something like this, where you get some nice distance on these wall jumps. So again, it's all a question of timing. You want to crouch slide into it, then wall bounce off when you're at the downward trajectory of your jump. All right, so if we watch that again in slow motion, basically what I'm doing, I have all my forward momentum, I crouch, slide, jump into the wall. When I hear my character hook up onto the wall, I'm not pressing any keys before that while I'm mid-air jumping towards the wall. What I do is I press the spacebar and the directional key to propel myself forward instead of just having a wall jump that allows me to, you know, go sideways. So you use all that forward momentum and propel yourself a pretty noticeable distance forward. So if for example, I was running with a wall to my right and I wanted to go forward, then I would crouch slide into the wall and use the A key on my keyboard to propel myself because the wall is on my right. So I want to push the momentum I have off the wall. So I would have to use the key that is opposite to the wall that I'm on, if that makes sense. Now the same thing can be done. If I had a wall to my left, I would use the opposite key, which would be D, which is the right hand side. So if the wall is to my left, I use the right key. If the wall is to my right, I use the left key to propel myself forward when I am wall jumping off as such. So really what wall jumping comes down to is all about the timing, the moment at which you press jump, and really learning how to combine all the keys that you're pressing at the same time. Once you're good enough practicing, like in this general area here, and good enough at getting the wall jump pretty consistently, you can then move on and practice in other areas. You can wall jump off of pretty much anything in the firing range. So yeah, just practice in the firing range until you get it. Like, you're doing wall jumps 90% of the time, you're getting successful wall jumps, and then start implementing them into live games of Apex. And yeah, you'll be able to wall jump off of pretty much anything, and you won't even need to think about it anymore. It'll just be second nature to wall jump off of pretty much any object, and you won't have any problems whatsoever. So I hope this guide was a little bit better than my old one, and I hope the explanations were clear enough, and the tricks that I gave you with the timing and how to get the timing right helped you out and helps you you know, complete more wall jumps or get more successful wall jumps at the very least. But anyways, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.